Hi guys, welcome back to the full-time show. This week it's back for the Premier League. So our first talking point is going to be not the Premier League, of course. It's going to be our England racist moment. So last week we spoke about how there's that 3-step protocol about if someone is going to be if there's racist abuse chanted at England fans or any players, there'll be a 3-step protocol coming into factor, and it happened in the England game on Sunday against Bulgaria.
It was. The international one was against Bulgaria, but there was a more recent incident in the FA Cup, Haringey Borough versus Yeovil. 2 men have been arrested for that at the moment. There was racial abuse shouted at the Haringey Borough goalkeeper, I think it was.
He's being spat at as well.
Yeah, terrible.
But that's the first time that in England, I think the team's walked off the pitch from the racist abuse. So obviously they've had enough of it down there. If it's even happening in lower league games, then there's obviously a serious problem now, isn't there? So
yeah, how's that even a thing? Okay, you brought it in, showed it against Bulgaria and England, but did it work? They kicked out the fans, yeah, fair enough. But the amount of times you see the players like Tyrone Mings say to the ref, they're like, we need to stop the game, they're being racist, like, what's going on? And it just didn't stop the game. We stopped it once or twice, I think. And then they just carried on playing, and then the Bulgarian manager comes out and says it's England fans being racist.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if you stop an international game like that, then the racists, like, they will win, because it's a big international match. But if it's like Yeovil Town versus Haringey, the players don't get paid that much money. They're going there to work. They might as well walk off the pitch, because it's not worth it. Like, how many fans was there? 3,000, 2,000, something.
Yeah, it's not.
So there's no point in them just standing around getting racially abused if it's a lower league match like that, because they're not getting paid that much money, or it's not like a big game. So
yeah, it's quite a problem actually. The reaction on Twitter seems to be, how can us English fans criticise the Bulgarians? If stuff like this is happening in our own country, and I think it's kind of rings true, to be honest. Like, racism is everywhere in football at the moment, and it's just obviously the FAs haven't done enough together to sort of eradicate it, and it's a bit of a shame really, because you're going to have more incidents like this.
That's the thing. You're never going to be able to fully eradicate it, because these people that do it, they're not educated, are they? They've got this like 1950s, 60s attitude where they think it's back in the day, when they don't realise times have changed. But
I mean, I'm just reading the Sky Sports article now, and the men who were arrested for it were 23 and 26. So that just shows that it's still around, and it's still from our generation that are they're actually doing it, and it's actually it's pretty disheartening, to be honest.
Yeah, so on to the next topic. It's going to be the Aston Villa game playing Brighton. It was a 2-1 win for Aston Villa. Aston Villa are actually looking really strong, to be fair. I reckon Aston Villa I don't reckon they'll get relegated this season. Their team altogether just work as a unit. You've got Jack Grealish now playing in behind number 10. So with Wesley, of course, we'll talk about Wesley in a minute, how had a kid at 15. Amazing. 14, yeah, amazing. And then had another one at like 18 or 19.
Getting busy.
Ridiculous. But yeah, I really think Villa will do well this season. They've got they're either like 7th or 11th, I think, and they're doing well. They've got a decent team. They've got a good back line, good goalkeeper, as we said last week, Tom Heaton, decent goalkeeper. I reckon the form he's in at the moment, obviously he is in the England team, I think he deserves to get a starting place, or at least being on the bench for England for qualifiers or even the next competition, because he is obviously proven. He's come out of Burnley and proved how good he is. He
proven himself to be quite reliable, actually.
Yeah.
He's a good shot stopper. Didn't he save a penalty not too long ago?
I think so,
Norwich. He's sort of like safe pair of hands, and he's experienced, isn't he? He's like older than Pickford.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Pickford's got that sort of mistake in him where Tom Heaton seems to be a safe pair of hands, but it's obviously a risk because he's not had too much experience at the international level. So
but that Brighton game, like, this is obviously, I know a lot of Brighton fans, and obviously I'll go to some of the games because season tickets there, my dad and my brother. But the thing with Brighton at the moment, they play well. They seem to play well in the games, but they can't seem to get the results. Obviously, they got the result against Tottenham last week, but Tottenham obviously they're struggling at the moment. But that game yesterday, they took the lead, and then Aaron Moy, he got sent off for
silly.
Double second yellow.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
And it's a stupid thing to do. He's a good player, Aaron Moy, as well. I like him, but that's obviously given Aston Villa the catalyst to get back into the game. And if Brighton keep doing stuff like this, where they're playing well but not getting the results, then they will end up being in a relegation dogfight, which they shouldn't really be in their third season in the Premier League, because this is where they should really now be starting to push up the league. They got rid of Chris Hughton. Well, I don't
Who is their new manager? Is he
Graham Potter, the old Swansea manager?
Yeah, he's.
I didn't agree with Chris Hughton getting sacked because of the things he's done for Brighton, but they wanted to move forward and push up the league. Well, at the moment they're on 9 points. So
they put quite a bit of... No, they haven't, have they? It was last season they put quite a bit of money into the team.
They spent money this year. Trossard, Morpay, Webster, Byrne. They brought quite a lot of players through.
Because they bought that Dutch striker, going back, he played for PSV like 2 seasons ago.
Lacada,
yeah. Played for a season. Did he even get a goal?
He couldn't run. No,
and he was one of the most promising strikers in Dutch league.
He came back. He had because on his I think it was on his Instagram. He had this is how much he didn't even care about football. He put part-time footballer, full-time DJ. He cared more about being a DJ than he did being a footballer. So he couldn't run and anything. So they got rid of him. He had 1 or 2 good games, but that's not good enough.
That's a shame, really.
So and Villa getting both of their goals in stoppage time. I think it was 45th +2 and 90
Old
+2.
Southampton academy graduate Matt Target scoring a winner, didn't he? Yeah, that was a good goal actually. I don't know if you see.
Jack Grealish produced the.
Jack Grealish was doing everywhere so well. I think there was stats on Match of the Day that was like his first season in the Premier League he scored 1 goal, 1 assist. At the moment he's on like 3 goals and 3 assists, and that's 9 games in. So I reckon he's finding his form from what he was touted at.
I think he's more mature now as well, because when he was burst into the Aston Villa team in the Premier League, I think he was 18, 19, something like that.
He was a child,
and he was doing he was acting stupid off the pitch as well.
Yeah, see the pictures floating around on social media about when he was in the middle of the street in Magaluf or something, absolutely drunk. Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, he is starting to really establish himself in that Villa side. I like watching him play. He's quite a silky player.
But apparently there's a bit of beef as well at the moment from Jack Grealish and Jesse Lingard.
Is it a girlfriend or something?
It's the girlfriend, isn't it? Yeah.
That's just awful.
That's the Instagram model Jenna Frues claimed that she's been cozying up with Jack Grealish and Jesse Lingard's fuming.
Jack Grealish has shown he's a better player than Lingard this season though, so wonder why.
Yeah.
Don't really have anything else to talk about with Brighton and Villa, do you guys? No. Just a subpar bottom tier football game, really. That's the old Stoke games you'd see and no one really cares about. Next we can go on City game. So against Palace, not a really hard game. Sometimes Palace is hard to go to. It was an away game at Palace, so you have the moments where you had the Liverpool Palace games, Dwight Gale scoring a hat-trick. But City played well. They did. Looking at the lineup coming out with two centre midfielders playing at centre back, it was just, what is Pep thinking? He had Stones on the bench, but obviously Stones is not.
That's the thing. No, you say that they're playing centre back, but obviously they are playing centre back. But I saw a match of the day, the highlight. When you have 80% possession of the ball,
they're playing so high up.
They're playing so high up. So they're playing as midfielders, pretty much still holding midfielders, and because they had so much of the ball, they don't need to worry about defending that much. And when you have Benteke to deal with and stuff like that, doesn't score a goal for 50 games.
He's just signed a new contract though.
Yeah,
he got in the Belgian squad as well.
He scored I think he's got 3 goals in 50 appearances or something.
Why don't we go for a trial? I'm sure we can.
At Palace, Royals just let him all.
Yeah, just give him contracts.
Because they bought that Sloth guy last season, some Norwegian striker.
Sorloth.
Yeah, where's he gone?
He was.
How much did they pay for him? 20, 30 million?
He's in. I saw him. He scored the other day with. I think he's gone somewhere else, but he scored the other day. Apparently he's decent though.
He was terrible in the Premier League though.
Yeah, but
he was absolutely terrible.
It's like, surely you do your scouting to find that players like Jordan Ayew. He's done well. I think it's Jordan Ayew, isn't it? It is the other one. Yeah,
Sorloth plays for Trabzonspor in Turkey. And he's played 7 games so far. He's still on Crystal Palace's books. He scored 4 goals in 7 games because I remember Sturridge scored yesterday as well.
Oh really? Because Sturridge is in Turkey as well. I know how well he's doing. So another one, City obviously from that game. It was 30 points from 33 on the road for City, but it's now obviously 33 from 36. So that's good for City, to be fair. You see Liverpool slipping up. Can we catch them? That's going to be the next thing. And
6 points behind now.
Yeah, which is, I don't know.
After 9 games, I mean, there's still so many.
Liverpool can slip up again. That momentous season where the last game messed it all up. Demba Ba scoring the winner. But another one, which is kind of a topic among City fans, is Gabriel Jesus outshining Aguero at the moment? So Jesus, Jesus has got 6 goals in his last 8 games. So he's got 6 goals in his Premier League season, and I think he's got 1 or 2 in cup competitions. So I would think watching him, he has a lot more emphasis or passion for the City shirt than Aguero does. Because when I watch Aguero, he doesn't run. He walks everywhere. Like he's a natural. He doesn't have to run.
He doesn't have
because
to
he
run.
has that ability, but he doesn't look like he just gets. You see Jesus, he gets up, he keeps going, he doesn't get like down with missed chances, he keeps going. With Aguero, I don't think he gives you that.
You can't say somebody who's scored 180 Premier League goals or something for City doesn't have the passion to play for Man
he obviously
City.
does, but when you watch him play, he's just lounging around. He's doing a Yaya Toure from like 3 seasons ago.
But he's 31, he needs to preserve his energy more than he did before.
What we'll say is that he's second in your top scorers, and he obviously hasn't been playing that much, so you can always rely on him. He's got 8 goals this season, and Sterling's on 9, and he's been playing every game pretty much. Yeah, but then obviously is there something going on with Aguero? Like, okay, Jesus is in his form, and that's always the problem we see. So many strikers that are these, okay, Jesus might not be world class at the moment, but are world class strikers, and they just can't get into the team. And then as soon as you do take one out, the other striker's just going to start going off. I did not press that. But yeah, I don't know what's going to be happening with the. I was talking about City of age 31. We've got David Silva at 33, scoring probably a delightful, well played. You'd think of a City goal like that. Yeah, no, that was. I didn't even press a button and that happened. I don't know what just went on.
Like Charlie Sloth on Radio 1.
But yeah, you think of back to the topic in hand. Yeah. You think of David Silva. He's 33. He's going to leave at the end of the season. He's still producing. He's still running. He's running the channels. He's running everything.
He's an unbelievable player.
He's a classy player. The thing is, like, I reckon he can still do that how he performs till he's 36. Yeah. Same with Iniesta. He's still, when he left Barcelona in his final season, he was still doing unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, I love watching him play. I'm not a City fan, but I could watch him all day. He's one of the players we just enjoy watching, no matter who they're playing for. A bit like Ronaldinho. Wherever he used to go, I used to watch him. Just unbelievable to watch. Plus, he shaved his head a couple of seasons ago, so that was a personal highlight for me.
I think he got a hair transplant.
Yes, he's growing it back now, isn't he?
That's so weird.
He didn't need it. I didn't think he needed a hair transplant in the first place.
I think that's why he kept it long, wasn't it? Like, just cover up the image, but then
it doesn't work. It didn't work on David Silva. Like,
no, obviously not.
What is that? Obviously. Going back to the City formation, number 2 at the back, you had Gundogan as basically a half-back in that game, which worked quite well. I'm not a very big Gundogan advocate, but he's not a very good utility
player, isn't he? Like
Pep obviously believes in him, and he's bringing his confidence out. Like,
he's reliable.
Yeah, but do we really have other players in that positions? Both of our holding centre mids that are our first-team options are our centre-backs. And they have John Stones coming on in, I think it was like the 65th minute or something, around like just past the second half, and that's when we turned to shit. We were terrible. We were giving the ball away left, right and centre. So we're playing against Palace, and even our third choice centre back is just doing terrible. I don't know what's going on in John Stones' head. You're playing for a top team in England and you're not performing.
Palace didn't even seem like they were up for it though.
No,
you say all this like about City not particularly playing well, but in the end they made it look easy, which was quite. It shows you the quality that you've got, even if you are playing 2 centre midfielders as centre backs. It's still like the way you play, you can afford that. Whereas a lot of teams in the league probably won't have that. Imagine taking Van Dijk out of that Liverpool team.
What would they be?
Yeah, exactly.
I think there was a talk show I heard. It was like someone was comparing Van Dijk to John Terry, being like, "Oh, he's so much better than John Terry," but Van Dijk's been at the top of his game for a year now, a year or two.
2 years.
2 years. Okay. How many years has John Terry at that Chelsea squad? And it's just Liverpool fans, not you, obviously, Adam, but most Liverpool fans are just delusional.
It's not the fact that he's saying better than John Terry. John Terry obviously played Premier League 15 years, whatever he is,
and he was at top flight his whole time. Even at Villa, he was doing well in the Championship.
Van Dijk, he's not just had 2. You can't say he's had 2 good seasons. Every club he's been at, he's been successful.
But then at Southampton and Celtic, he wasn't.
If you look at his
that good.
If you look at his actual, he was that good because that's why Liverpool signed in the first place.
Yeah, but he was not a world beat. Like if he was that good at Celtic, he would have went to Barca. If you look
at the impact he's had at Liverpool in the sort of graphic.
Yeah, he's done well. He has done very well.
He's not better than John Terry yet because he's played like you said, two and a half seasons at the top level for Liverpool. But Van Dijk, he has the potential to be, in 3, 4, 5 years, one of the best centre-backs to ever play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Won the Champions League
But
already.
then is it too late in his career? He's what, 28?
28, he's still got what?
He's
But then he's got a good
prime,
5 years in his prime.
You get the more centre backs get older, the better they get. Pretty
and then
much.
the
You
slower
think
they
of
get.
John Terry, he was still at Chelsea when he was 35, 36,
Yeah, and then he went
or
to Villa
whatever.
and did 2 seasons at Villa.
Yeah,
got promotion with them.
And like you look at the Juventus backline, Chiellini, Bonucci, and like Barzagli.
Exactly. Yeah, Barzagli
They
like
were-
36.
Yeah.
I think he retired.
They
He
were-
retired last season.
They
I
were
think.
playing. They were playing together for like 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
and they were over 30.
That was
So
a weird one with Bonucci going to
AC Milan.
AC Milan, then coming back the next season.
Yeah, he
Is
went for
that-
the money, I think, to AC Milan. He wanted to get some money, and he
spotted an opportunity. Yeah.
and then he went back.
And Milan have bought all these players. Obviously, going off of the Premier League, but for a second, on a little tangent. But Milan have bought all these players. Like Calhanoglu was a really high-rated player. Come into AC Milan, and he's just not done. And you don't see him lighting anything up. AC Milan, even in the Champions League,
No,
No.
they've got they buy all these players that it's kind of like a QPR to give it a.
They keep changing managers and stuff, and like Gattuso was there last season. He finished 5th, I think, or 6th, and he was meant to get Champions League, so he quit. And now they've got another manager who's obviously not.
I think they're lining up the Lazio manager.
Oh really? Yeah, Lazio are doing quite well, to be fair. Obviously, onto another tangent of buying a lot of players. We've got Everton, who got a 2-1 win. We were talking about
Watched that.
this earlier.
They played well. They played well. To be fair, I don't like Everton. Obviously, I'm Liverpool. But that game they played well. West Ham didn't have a chance that game.
No. I don't know. Everton seem to last 2 seasons. Everton have just bought and bought and bought, and it's just not worked out. They just come out of relegation zone. I'm pretty sure now, or they're just on the tip of a relegation zone.
Yeah.
But
they're on 10 points.
10 points for an Everton squad 9 games in. That's
You say that though, they're above Man United.
yeah.
So you sort of look at the two clubs. I know Man United are in a massive, massive crisis here. Oh no, they're not. They're the same points as Man United. Sorry, but
But
they're
did you-
14th and 13th respectively.
So you watched the game, Adam? Did you?
Yeah, I watched
Dan.
the game.
I
Yeah.
didn't watch the Everton game.
Have you watched the
I
highlights
did see the
at all?
highlights, and
Both of their goals were
Their goals were good,
mental.
Yeah, I watched the. Yeah,
Sigurdsson's goal was.
He
I think Bernardo, as a commentator, was like, "Nah, it's not going in. It's not going in." And it just scores. It's like,
You know, but Everton's pressure and their pressing game was on point. Like Walcott played well. Everyone played. Andre Gomes, he played quality. Like, yes, I don't even like Everton, but he played good. Everton, to be fair, they play like that every week. They'll push up the table easily.
yeah, they've got such a good. Even Walcott looked good, and Walcott hasn't looked good in like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Like Iwobi looked decent. Like obviously not a £50 million signing, but he looked there. You've got Sigurdsson, who came off the bench even to score his goal, and his goal was a screamer. Same as like, I think these Everton players now have to take everything by the cuff of their neck, like we were saying last week, with the England players. They need to take the games by the scruff of the neck and just like go out and try and perform their best. Obviously, that's going to be everyone's going to do that, but players like Bernardo, Sigurdsson, like they really do need to show their quality, like Bernardo has done in his last 2 games. I thought at Shakhtar in the Champions League, he was a very good player. Small for us. I remember playing against City 2 seasons
Do
ago.
you mean Bernard?
Bernard, yeah, sorry, not Bernardo.
Yeah,
Bernard, yeah. He's a great player. I don't even know if he's been capped by Brazil either.
I think he has.
Yeah, I think he has.
Couple times.
He's quite old now. I think he's like 30 odd.
Oh really? I thought it was
Yeah.
quite. I
I
was
think
like,
he's 28.
yeah, 28,
around
29.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
same like.
But he's quite small though, isn't he? For
He's tiny.
I think he's like 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah.
But he's such a skillful player, and you don't really see that anymore in the Premier League. Like someone, I think he went past at least like three of the West Ham players, and then cut it back, boot the keeper, and then scored.
Yeah, he's a very
good.
skillful player, and you don't really get many Brazilians who come in and light up the Premier League.
I thought Richarlison was decent last season, but he hasn't really.
Yeah, I mean he's a bit inconsistent.
Yeah,
I
hit the
think.
post as well.
Bernard, he's 27, so he could still hit his
Yeah,
highest ever. He's played 14 games for Brazil, to be fair.
14.
Yeah, he's been.
Oh dear.
2012 was his first game for Brazil, so don't know, Everton might kick on from now, unless that was just a one-off performance and they go back to how they were performing. But
You can't. They have like, I don't know, that Everton squad with the amount of players they have in their team. I don't know, what's their how much is their squad worth then? Because they have spent bucket loads. I think they got invested by the same, I think Sheikh Mansour's brother, wasn't it? Or something to do with a cousin invested in
I think
them.
their squad's worth over 250 million.
Jeez, that's a good. And they got Lucas Digne at left back, and he's their captain as well.
is he really?
Nah,
Yeah.
he's not the captain.
He's a captain. I think he's vice captain, because they still got Baines like knocking around the club.
Oh yeah.
But and then you have players they brought in like Sidibe from Monaco, who played decently, but then going to West Ham. What do we think about West Ham this season? Are they gonna do anything, or do you think they're just gonna be normal West Ham, mid to bottom table and just survive?
I think they'll be top 10. I think there's a little fight going on for that.
Everyone's got a lot more challenges.
10th place. I reckon you got Leicester are in there. Wolves, who are obviously not having the best starts of the season, but I don't know. You've got Everton, Wolves, maybe West Ham and Leicester. I reckon are going to be the ones that are going to be like pushing for that top 10 spot. But yeah.
So going on to that Leicester game, it was Leicester-Burnley, ended 2-1 to Leicester with a controversial decision. And I think even the 90th minute, I think it was, goal got ruled out. I think, who was it? It was either Chris Wood or Chris Wood, who scored before the game scored 3 and 4 for Burnley. So he's doing quite well. So he was 4 and 5. He's quite a prolific striker.
His goal was awesome.
Decent,
great header.
And he used to be a Leicester player as well. But obviously he was outshone at Leicester by then. Them times, that's when he had David Nugent up front for Leicester. That was the year. And then that Croatian striker, who is he called? Kramaric. He did nothing, and now in the Bundesliga he's doing quite well. But yeah, what do we think about the Leicester decision? Obviously, James Maddison was back again from his illness, and they made that a very public thing on Match of the Day when the commentator was like, "Oh, he's back from his illness," and I think that's a bit of slander there on the footballing part, but he can't really say anything. It was his fault.
Yeah, I think it's already been discussed, and
just leave it to bed now.
They're dragging it out just for some.
It's typical English media, though.
I just want to our breaking news sort of come through on my phone, sort of thing. I just want to see what your guys' opinion of change the topic a little bit. Of what your guys' opinion of this is. That it says here, dementia in footballers is 3.5 times more likely than in general population, and that's due to things like heading the football.
Okay, yeah, no, that's pretty similar to well, obviously not the conditions, but the risk of concussions and stuff like later on in life of American footballers. But dementia in
It says here the study began because they've done a study in Glasgow University, and it says the study began after former West Brom striker Jeff Astle died because of repeated head trauma.
Oh, that's
is there a link between like what positions on the pitch and stuff? Because you got obviously the
centre backs.
More centre backs going to be heading it more.
It doesn't say that, but there's a video here of Alan Shearer. He undergoes MRI scan. I think they're trying to test see his.
Well, there was a programme on that. I think it was last year. Something like that.
He compared deaths of 7,000 ex-players to 23,000 people from the general population. Found that the footballers were. That's how they found that it's 3.5 times more likely.
Oh my Lord.
So
there's a thing that MLS tried to do, I think it was 2-3 seasons ago, or going on like 2 years ago, and they tried to, what they did with it's either their under 12s or under 16s, and they played games with no headings in it, so the ball wasn't allowed above head height, like six-a-side is meant to be played, but as we all know, when you play six-a-side the ball is going to go above head height. But okay, like the dementia thing is massive, like that is a massive thing, and a massive study that's come out, and obviously that is affecting dementia. But football's such a set in stone game, can they change anything? Like they can't really take heading out of the game, can they? Like there's nothing, is there, like I don't know, because there's nothing they can really do about it, I want to say. Like what is there practically that they can do now that will be better for the players in the future?
That's what I mean. Maybe like during the season or during after every season, scan the head, make sure everything's like. Cause maybe they get these head injury, dementia and stuff because they're not checked every season.
Yeah, that would
be
good.
Football. So
this whole Ryan Mason thing, wasn't it? What happened to him?
He fractured his skull.
Yeah, from a head, and so. But then it's always been around. You think of the days like.
But that was contact with another. That was Gary Cahill's head.
Yeah. You think about like hundreds of years, well not hundreds of years ago, like 50, 60 years ago, and they're like the heavy balls they were playing with back in the days, no gloves for keepers. I don't think they even had boots, some of them.
Yeah.
And it was like they were heading balls then, and they were like the weight on them was just ridiculous. I could take your head off nowadays, but I don't really know. That's quite a slumped thing. Like talking about dementia and how that's affecting people or like footballers in things. But when can they bring something into the game? That's a real discussion topic to look, and we probably research into it. Talk about next week what they could actually do. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'd be interested to see that study and
how it actually impacts them, how long it takes. Yeah. So going back to more lighter notes, we've got a Chelsea match. So obviously 1-0 to Chelsea. Marcus Alonso, not a very good footballer, not a very nice man either. We all know what happened to him. What do you think, lads? What do you think of the game? How did Chelsea and Newcastle look to you two, if you even watched the game?
I saw the highlights on match of the day. Newcastle, their last 2 games they're playing this new system. I think they're playing a 3 or a 5 or something like that.
And they're like 4 in the midfield and 1 up top.
And it looks like it could be the way forward for them. You see Bruce has been trying a different formation throughout the season. I think this could be the way forward for them. So Maximan looks like a real, like we said last week, looks like a real good player. And I think if they get that players fit and firing, they could. I think they're going to get relegated. I think they'll finish 15th, 16th.
Yeah, it'll be a massive challenge for them to stay up because, well, I know they've spent some money this season, but the lack of investment is obviously hurting the team. Steve Bruce isn't exactly a inspiring choice of manager. I know a lot of people weren't happy about it, but to give him his credit, like he's competing. The same points as Southampton. Only 2 points out of 1 point out of the relegation zone. So I don't know. I think the signs are promising. To be honest, they've got a good core of young players coming through. You've got the Longstaff brothers, and like you said, like St. Maximan, and they've got Christian Atsu on the other side, and Andy Carroll back at St James's Park. So I don't know. I'll be interested to keep an eye on Newcastle as the season goes on.
Speaking of Carroll, as we spoke about last week, he's done all right. I think in that formation, the way they're playing, quick wingers, pacey, obviously Atsu and Maxime, they're good players. They can get across him. With Andy Carroll up front, I'm sure he can head a goal in. He's huge. Like, what else can he do? He can't. He's not very technical with his feet, but just lump on into the box and heads it in. That's Andy Carroll for you, isn't it? But Newcastle do look strong, as we've been saying. Their new formation under Steve Bruce, of all managers, is doing really well. I reckon their structure is so much better. With the Longstaff brothers in midfield, I don't know, obviously must be a really good morale and good chemistry between them. They both know obviously how they play, and they're doing well. They kept it down against the Chelsea team. For Chelsea, in the form they're in, with the players they have in that team, bringing obviously Hudson-Odoi, I think that was his first Premier League start or second.
Yeah, I don't,
because he's back to full fitness now. Hudson-Odoi did play really well, to be fair to him. Amazing player. But yeah, Newcastle seems to keep them at bay quite well. They just can't score. I think Chelsea didn't have ridiculous amounts of chances either. They just had like a decent amount of chances for like your top Chelsea team. But Newcastle defending was solid. The defenders they have at the back are doing really well.
Yeah, I saw an article on The Athletic. It's like a news thing as well. And they're talking about Martin Dubravka, Newcastle's goalie. They're saying since he's been brought in, he's been one of the best players. They're saying that PSG, Juventus are looking at him as well. His stats have gone down this season, but that's maybe because the defence is getting weaker. But overall, since he's been at Newcastle, he's been the most consistent player. People are saying he could have saved that Marcus Alonso shot yesterday, but he had so much power and he couldn't really see it. But like Newcastle, they've got a good goalie, got a couple of decent players. I reckon they'll be safe. That's it.
Yeah, I reckon the way they're structured, they've got a lot of players as well. Thinking about like all in their fullback departments, they're playing Matt Ritchie as a left wing back. Like that's just, I don't know why. Obviously they have that Yetro Williams, Yetro Williams, however you pronounce it. They have him playing mainly at left wing back, but then they bring Ritchie on, so it shows another dimension to their team really. Like using their fullbacks, and obviously having Andy Carroll up front or Joelinton, or however you pronounce it.
Joelinton, yeah.
Yeah, they're very good, but they just need to score some goals, really.
Yeah, I think that's their main issue. Scoring goals.
But they have the recipe in layman's terms. They have the recipe to do it. They've got good attacking prowess, good midfield, good defence, and their formation is solid. But they just need to score goals. Like against that Chelsea team, I reckon they could have scored at least 2. Looking at the highlights as well, they did have 2 good chances.
Yeah.
But obviously, Kepa was in form and kept them out. So, and welcome back. The next result we're going to be talking about is our United and Liverpool game. So obviously we have our resident Liverpool fan in the studio, Adam. So what do you think? 1-1. I think, on my opinion,
overall contrast. The point was probably a fair result. Both teams, we could have won it with our chances in the last 20 minutes, but once again the VAR. I'm normally a big fan of it, but it doesn't seem to be working. To be honest, does it? It's clear and obvious. We were saying before, VAR was brought in place to get the right decisions, not about the referee if it's clear or obvious or this and that. The right decisions. Divock Origi, before that Rashford goal, was fouled, and that's as simple as that. Doesn't matter if the referee's made a clear and obvious error. He was fouled, therefore he should be given a free kick, and the goal shouldn't stand. Mane's one, fair play, got it right. Handball. It's handball. You can't handball it. It's not a goal. But that one, as simple as that. It doesn't matter if the referee's made a clear obvious error. It's a foul. And that's as simple as that.
But how far do we take it? I was saying to the to my friend who was watching it with me. I was like, how far do we take it? Like, how far back does the refereeing decision that was wrong have to go? So, for example, that was quite quick from back to front. I'll admit. But what if there's a period of play where there's a foul, and then 20, 30, 40 seconds later, maybe even a minute, 2 minutes, and someone scores? How far do we take it?
Yeah, but that's the thing.
True.
It doesn't matter how far it is. It should be, if there's a foul, it's a free kick, and the game should stop. It doesn't matter. The game. That's what I'm saying. The game shouldn't have carried on because it should be in a foul.
I think it's overcomplicating it. I mean, I do agree that there was contact from him, but whether it's enough for him to throw himself on the floor, I don't know.
The fall over is probably, but he's tackled from behind. He tackled from behind, and he clipped his calf. Therefore, it's contest free kick. And
there was contact, but I think the referee's got to be trusted in that sort of situation.
He's past his best, that referee. I think he's been refereeing 15 seasons.
From a neutral point of view, sorry to interrupt, but from a neutral point of view, I think that was a great result.
Yeah,
both teams played well. Good end-to-end football, typical United Liverpool game.
It was good. It was good to watch. I thought the first half, I watched, United were definitely on top. Liverpool just didn't seem like their normal selves, knocking the ball long pretty much at every opportunity, to be honest. And
what time was it? Lallana scored, and his last goal was like 2017, I think.
He's had injury problems, but I think we just didn't. Mohamed Salah obviously didn't play. That's obviously a big aspect.
But then do you need Salah?
Yeah,
like Mane's that good, but Mane is that good.
The whole front three is obviously. If you take Firmino out, it changes. You take Mane out, you take one of them players up the front three, and the whole dimension changes. Origi, he scored important goals last season, but he's not the quality. He's
someone you just bring on.
He's
just
not the quality to start a match against Man United. He lost the ball so many times. He did all. The best player for Liverpool yesterday was Wijnaldum.
Yeah, he is a really good player. He has showed himself from coming from Newcastle. I think I don't know what time it was in. I saw the highlights of when he dribbled and shot. Like, I think it must have been like 50th, 60th minute. Yeah. That was immense. I didn't even realise that was Wijnaldum. Didn't even know he had that in his locker. He's a very technical player.
He plays further forward for Holland, and he's been getting a couple of goals for Holland. But he needs to play in our system. It's not. Yesterday we struggled with someone who could create chances. That's why we struggled, because we had Fabinho, Henderson, Wijnaldum. If we'd have had Naby Keita on from the start, I reckon we would have done better, because there's a stat that said Naby Keita, Fabinho and Wijnaldum, that midfield three has never lost a game, and they played with each other.
Yeah, wow, that's
but then United lining up with three at the back. Well, 3 or 5. They've changed their formation around.
I mean, it worked.
Yeah, big old Harry Maguire, slabhead in the middle.
Yeah, it did work. They looked a lot more comfortable in that formation than they did, say, for example, at Newcastle last week when they played with the 4. I worry about their midfield.
Yeah,
Scott
Fred and McTominay.
Scott McTominay was good. He won. He was busy. He won the ball several times. And Fred, I don't really know what he does, but he was busy as well.
His runs.
That's
what I see from Fred.
He doesn't really offer much. And Pereira, again, that's a weak point in that team.
How is Pereira getting that team? Like we were saying a couple of weeks ago, last week. Yeah, they don't have that depth. They bought Daniel James. Yeah, fair enough. He has proven. To be fair. But then, like, obviously, you would normally have Pogba in that position, or a bit further back.
Gary Neville was saying And they were saying yesterday on Sky Sports that Andres Pereira, they're big fans of him. They think he's going to have a bright future for Man United, but they don't know what position he's playing. He can play. They don't know. Maybe
he can play right, he can play left, he can play mid.
They said they didn't know whether he played striker, centre mids, cam. So I don't know. Yeah, the 1-1 probably a fair enough result. I would have preferred if we'd got the win against them, the Manx, but.
Do what you
I was a United fan yesterday, personally, but yeah, it was an entertaining game to watch. Actually, the goals were pretty similar in the sense that both defenders missed that first ball, and it's just gone like a lot. In the case of Lallana, it's just gone through him, just gone through the whole defence, and he's just there to mop it up. Really, it was an easy goal to score, probably the easiest goal.
But is there a reason why Liverpool didn't have that intensity in the first half? Is there something going on in the back? Is there, or is it just they didn't realise how much United were going to come out and attack and actually like show them how well they wanted? Obviously, you could see United actually wanted to win the game. They showed so much passion in the game, like fighting throughout. But then Liverpool were just, I don't know if they were like trumped by it or just didn't know what was going on, because United came out in full force. Like Rashford actually playing well for once as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. They're scoring a goal, so that's what, 1 goal in October now.
What
for Rashford?
For Rashford, yeah.
Because they didn't score against Newcastle either. Boost his confidence.
He needed that big performance, and although he weren't as good as we've seen him, like he did show some bright moments, especially running through the defence. He just got the final ball wrong, but he took the goal well. It was a tap in, but he still have to score him.
So, speaking to our Liverpool fan, what do we think Liverpool could have done better the whole game?
I think Fabinho, he's been one of our best players since he came in, but he was sloppy all game. Really, he couldn't even pass a ball yesterday, and that's surprising from him because he's normally a slick operator. But now the passing was off yesterday. The intensity was off. Everything was off really until the last 20 minutes when we came on. Lallana, Keita came on. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain came on with his energy straight away. Got a couple of shots in. Because the thing with Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's not afraid to run with the ball, run at defenders, and take a shot if he needs to. And now Keita can dribble. As soon as they came on, the game changed. But yesterday, I think the Fabinho wasn't good yesterday. The Henderson was back to how he used to play when he passed the ball backwards instead of forward. He's been good this season, Henderson, but I think yesterday just without Salah and a few other things, we can't play like amazing every game.
Yeah,
he's unbeaten still. So
I think it's like the sign of a good team is to grind out results, and that's what you've been doing of late. I don't think you've been at your electric best, which is still good. I mean, you're playing not as well as you normally are, and you're still picking up points as well. Like, you could have easily lost that game because United had a few good chances, but then you could have easily won that game. So I think Liverpool are very, very strong, and they're probably obviously favourites to win the title.
We'll take the point and we'll move to the next game, which is getting next week against Tottenham.
Yeah, big game.
I can't wait.
Or Sunday, actually, not next week, Sunday.
Yeah.
But
right. I think that is Adam going, so we're not going to go to a break, we'll just let Adam go. Have a good one. Good luck at uni for the rest of the day. He can't hear us very well. But speaking of Tottenham, our resident Tottenham fan in the studio.
Can we skip over it, please?
Yeah, or another 1-1 and another result around the grounds or around the league was 1-1 with Wolves and Southampton. But going back to the Tottenham game and going back to what Adam said before, VAR is not being used very well, in my opinion. The refs aren't using it. We were talking on the way here that they're not using the screen. They're given a screen. In the World Cup, they had the screen. Every opportunity they had, they went to the screen and got a view of the thing. But they're not using it. They're getting talked in the air and then just going off what people were telling them or their first instinct. We had in the Burnley game, I think it's the Burnley and Spurs game, the referee didn't even want to go to VAR. I think it was the Burnley game. He was like, he just gave his own opinion, which is all right. He's a referee. He can override anyone's opinion. But why have it and then... Like, why have VAR and then not use it?
I don't think it was thoroughly tested out enough. You got to think there's so much on the line in these Premier League games. There's so much money involved, and I think just leaving it to just like using it as and when it just makes a mockery of it all. Really, I mean, you got the one for example, using the Spurs game, we scored a goal. Took a few minutes and the ref was adamant that he weren't going to use it, and then the decision came up with a no goal, which obviously like raised the tension a little bit between the Watford players. They were all confused, and the Tottenham players were confused because they had already like celebrated and waiting to kick off and stuff, and then the referee just said kick off. It just makes a mockery of it, really, and it's not being implemented
it's not
properly. But
and is that ruin the momentum? We always talk about this, like ruin the momentum of the game. That obviously Dele Alli goal not happening is happening. What like if that would have been given straight away, Watford could have gone back to the the kick-off, and then fight out that like ruin like 2-3 minutes. They've lost that amount of time that they could have built up the momentum again and then went on attack. Or even Tottenham, to be fair, they could have counter-attacked and had more time to get a winner. But I think stuff like that where it's not working on the screen is just, it's a mockery of like what they actually think of VAR. How they've spent all this money on this system, and it's meant to be like proven to get the decisions right, and then it doesn't even get an easy displaying like thing showing it was a goal. Like, how can you pay all this money for this system and it doesn't work? That's just a mockery of the English game, really. Pay all these fancy graphics, get like the colours of the Premier League on it, get really cool camera angles of it, and then it just doesn't even do the basic thing right of saying goal or no goal.
Like, I don't know. I mean, going back to the game, I didn't watch it because it weren't shown on telly, but 1-1 against bottom of the league. It didn't sound like we were playing well. I watched the highlights. Watford's goal was brilliant. Danny Rose out of position. The three centre backs just all watching the ball, and Serge Aurier losing his man, and Doucouré just comes in and like puts it in the bottom corner. That was a great finish, and they probably deserved to get more out of the game, to be honest, by what it sounds like. Again, Dele Alli starting the game. He weren't magnificent, but he did get the goal. I just don't know what's happening at Spurs at the moment, to be honest. We just seem to be really flat, and no one seems to really.
Backline played quite well, to be fair.
They don't really tend to care. They don't really.
It's like as we say, like passion for the shirt, stuff like that.
And they seem quite switched off at the moment, and Potter's got a big job on his hands, to be fair. Just reading an interview with him, and he says they need to be ready in January to make signings. But then he did say if we win all the games up until January, then what's the point?
I think there's a moment it was Ali and Winks that got confused with each other, and a commentator spoke out, and they're like, these are England midfielders. How are they doing that? How are they losing people that easily? They're like can be one of the best England midfielders like currently. And they're just losing Watford players. Watford have had a terrible start to the season.
Yeah, the bottom of the league.
And they've just gone to Tottenham and done that. I think this season there's more upsets in the first 9 games than there was all season last season. I don't know if it's everyone's just recruited well. Like, I think the Premier League quality of football in the Premier League this season has got so much better. I think you're seeing a lot more interesting moments. You're seeing bad moments. You're seeing teams like United just suffer, which is good for everyone, but you never know, like, it's like what's going on. Like, there's just a complete flip of the script. It's like, this BT thing last season, it was like, there's a script, and they did all this media thing saying, there's no script to it, but it is literally like that. It's like the script's been ripped up, and then like everything's meant to not meant to happen is happening. Like, you have your bottom tier teams like doing amazing against like your top 4 team from 2 seasons ago. But another like point I'd say, or we can go on to, is the Wolves and Southampton game. I think Wolves are a bit lacklustered. You see Wolves, and their attacking lineup is so good. But we talked like last week or the week before, about Raul Jimenez and Diego Jota and all that. Patrick Catrone and all that. Like Traore, blistering pace, amazing. But then they go to a Southampton team, or Southampton come to them, and they do well.
I think Southampton have been very good on the road, actually. I don't think they've done too badly on the road. They've picked up a few points away at Sheffield United. They won, but again, the headline is VAR helps Saints hold Wolves to draw. It seems to be taking away more goals than giving goals, which is again a massive talking point.
Definitely. But looking on to the next result, which is going to be tonight, is Sheffield United versus Arsenal. Literally just come out in a news story. Their star striker, £20 million rated Ollie McBurnley, has been done for drink driving, which is just amazing.
I don't know how you can be caught for drink driving as a footballer.
Why not pay for a taxi? You have all this money. It's just like Lloris as well.
Yeah,
like you have all these players come out, and then you have all the Derby players supposedly being in. I don't know. Yeah, that was drink driving as well, wasn't it? The 2 Derby players. You're rich. Like you have money in your bank
account. The amount
account.
of money that you get paid, and you can't
get a taxi. But then is that their personality or their ego being like, oh, I'm fine, oh, I'm this amazing player?
It's probably because no one will tell them no.
And then they will just go out for it.
Yeah.
And they're putting people in risk. Okay, like yourself, like, yeah, be selfish and think of yourself, but imagine the amount of people on the road that you're putting in risk. Like, that's ridiculous. And you're meant to be someone that people look up to as a footballer. Like, okay, Ollie McBurney, he's a Scottish footballer, no one really cares about him. And he plays for Sheffield United. No one really cares about that club. But how are you setting like an example for players? Like, that's not good for people, even for like fans, like young footballers wanting to get into the game. You're showing them that it's all right to like drink culture, getting drunk. That's fine. Like, everyone is entitled to that.
I think the main thing is that he could have caused an accident which could have someone could have lost their life, and I think that's the worst thing about it. You're a footballer, and you've got this public, you got the public's eye on you at all times. And I think it's just a bit. It's stupid. It is just stupid. I mean, even a regular person drink driving. It's just the most silly thing you can do. And there should be more punishment, to be honest.
Yeah, get his contract ripped up. Like, if that was a normal person that had been drink driving, I don't know the actual legal thing, but they would get a fine. Well, if you're drink driving, do you get arrested? You get arrested.
Yeah, you get arrested.
Or you get a fine.
Yeah.
You get
probably lose your job.
Yeah. So why can't they get, just because they have that personality or they have this stature?
And
why did it happen to them?
If you crash into someone and someone loses their life, you got to live with that for the rest of your life as well.
Speaking about Marcus Alonso, obviously doing that, which is just don't see, like, it's just one rule for one, another for the other, or which is a bit.
It's a shame, really.
Yeah, it is. It should read more. I think that because they're footballers, they have money, they can get away with stuff like this, which is really bad. But go back onto the football, obviously.
It's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. But going on to the football, obviously Sheffield United versus Arsenal. Sheffield United are at home as well. Sheffield United are doing quite well, to be fair, against their top teams.
Yeah, they played well against Liverpool, we'll say that. They was unlucky to concede that. They're on 9 points after 8 games played. They're doing pretty well. Arsenal, again, they're looking okay. They're picking up the points, but they're not playing with any sort of, not like normal Arsenal or the usual Arsenal or the glory days of Arsenal or whatever. But they could go back into third, which will be quite
weird. But another stat here
for them
is Sheffield United are unbeaten in their last 4 top flight games at home to Arsenal. They've won 1 and drawn 3 since a 2-0 loss in 1991.
Yeah, I was going to say they haven't been in the Football League for Premier League for a while.
But then they have a good team, like we said last or the week before. I know I say that all the time, but they are a Villa. They're a Championship team. But they're showing that they're more than a Championship team, and they've got players that will perform as Premier League like prospects. They're good. They've got is it George Baldock? Like one of their midfielders they have. I think Baldock is their right back. But is it? I'm not going to say names because I'll probably get them wrong. But one of their midfielders, either Lodstrom or someone like that, and he's doing decent. They are showing that they are a force to be reckoned with in the Premier League. They're a Stoke, I reckon. They've like 2 seasons ago. Okay, Stoke got relegated, but they're someone that you wouldn't really. They can show they'll fight for it. They've not got a lot to live with. They probably know they're going to get relegated at the end of the season. But it's good to see teams going out and actually trying to get results against top 4 teams. You see that 2-3 seasons ago. They're not laying down and just dying. They're going up for the fight, and they're knowing that they're going to get somewhere.
Yeah,
which is good. But talking about Arsenal, normal. I reckon they'll put the same lineup out. We'll have to see if Ozil's even included on the bench.
Yeah, say Alexandre Lacazette's back in training.
Will he start? Do you reckon?
Decision will be made ahead of the game.
They've got a Saka they've been playing
out, and I think that's pretty much all their injury news. Aubameyang is in very good form. He's got 49 goals in 75 games. which is ridiculous.
The 6th fastest player to reach 50 milestone for the Gunners if he scores tonight, and he has scored 80% of Arsenal's goals in the away goals this season, and Torreira netting one. So they are in good form going into it. To be fair, it probably will be quite an interesting game because Sheffield do defend very well. They're very compact, park the bus team, and they can counter attack. They've got these strikers. They've got the legs to run. They can't remember his name, but they got this Irish striker who is really decent. I think against Southampton, I think it's Callum Robinson.
Yeah, I'm not.
And then they've got they go for that like skinny fast striker, and then their big, tough striker along the side of them.
Yeah, McBurney's pretty.
Burnley, yeah. But obviously he can't play because he's been done for joining Rome. I'd be surprised he might if he starts. That's just ridiculous. But that'll be all for us today. So thank you for listening. We'll be on next week at the same time.
Yeah,
Hope you all have a good week.